is AlexHughes, and I'm going to choose one university out of 3 universities for the best MBA program. So out of the 3, which is Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas, UC Irvine, and UC Los Angeles. The reason I chose Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas is that my grandfather was actually born in I also chose UCLA and UC Irvine because of their standing in business. So they're well known for their business programs. So I would say that Washburn University is well known for its experienced staff who have mainly PhDs. UCLA, known for its notable alumni such as James Dean, and UC Irvine, which is known for its research as well as its ability to uplift poor students. So the criteria that I chose for my classes is cost of tuition. The reason I chose cost of tuition is that that's actually one of the most important choices. Is I need to be able to pay for tuition. So in order to win this criteria, honestly, I'm looking for the cheapest tuition, to be honest, for my master's program, 100%. But the second criteria I chose was commute time. And that's super important for me because I plan on working full-time during my master's degree program. And I want to be able to have the time not only for working full-time, but also to fit in those classes. Because if the commute time is too long, then I'm not going to really have time to enjoy the campus. So in order to win that, I want to have the shortest commute time from my starting location. Number 3 is clubs and societies. So clubs and societies are a way for me to get involved on campus. And in order to win this criteria, I want to see a good plethora of business networking societies. And the reason for that is it would allow me to build my skill set. But in order to win that, I want to have a good variety. So I want to see a university that has a lot of business clubs. And I'm also looking for a good salary expectation. So education is an investment. So I want to be able to have a positive ROI. Lastly, I'm looking for a university that has a good connection with other companies. So after my master's degree, I wouldn't mind working for large-size corporations. So the 5 criteria and which universities won which criteria. So the first criteria was cost, and that was won by UCLA only by a few $100s compared with UC Irvine. Considering that I'm an in-state student for both of those universities, I can expect a much cheaper tuition, whereas Washburn University, being in Kansas, means that I can expect an out-of-state criteria was commute time. Washburn University won this because of the expectation of living in Topeka, Kansas. So UC Irvine and UCLA, the commute time would have been 1 to 2 hours plus traffic. So the next criteria was clubs and societies. And the reason that UCLA won was because there's so many clubs on campus, over 1,000. But mine was close behind with over 600 clubs total. But they couldn't beat UCLA. And Washburn University honestly washed out. It was only a handful of business clubs. The second to last criteria was salary expectation of grad. So I definitely chose UCLA because of the 6-figure salary. It's a little bit higher average, as well as a higher signing bonus, which is awesome. And lastly, the criteria for companies associated with the schools. So UCI and UCLA had both great large companies associated with the schools. Washburn University, not so much, to be honest. I decided to choose UCLA because of the sheer amount of companies, a ridiculous amount. Big companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Facebook. That's why my final choice is UCLA. And the reason for that is the cost of attending is the cheapest out of all the other universities. It beat UCI by a couple $100s, a few $100s. In addition, the companies associated with the schools cannot be beat. Large corporations such as Google, Microsoft, Facebook have hired the MBA graduates. I also enjoyed, apart from the salary and the tuition costs, is the clubs and societies. And the reason why I joined that, or enjoyed it, was because there's over 1,000 clubs to pick from. But there's a numerous amounts of business and networking clubs to go for. So UCLA wins on all these counts, apart from the location and the traffic. But maybe, just maybe, I would relocate to UCLA.